From the beginning, the Utah Shakespeare Festival was to be more than just plays. By 1971, after 10 years of hard work by hundreds of people, the festival had grown into an impressive and noteworthy regional theater. The number of performances had increased, and the need for new facilities had become apparent. The temporary stage had been set up and taken down so many times, and the bolt holes had become so big that the balcony was wobbly and unsafe. A new theater became essential, one that would meet the growing needs of the festival and reflect the vision of Shakespeare under the stars. Planning began in earnest for a theater that would catapult the Utah Shakespeare Festival to new heights. William Shakespeare, in the prologue to Henry V, referred to the stage as an unworthy scaffold. In the early days of Elizabethan theater, traveling troupes would erect crude scaffolds and place planks over them to create a quick stage. For 10 years, the Utah Shakespeare Festival had been carrying on this tradition, rolling out the materials and equipment in the summer and taking them down at the close of the season. By 1969, the ravages of time and the elements were obvious. An increasing amount of money and effort was spent each year in repairing or replacing parts of the stage. After a decade of operation, the festival company needed a permanent home. Scenic director Doug Cook rose to the challenge. Cook had been looking into the major elements of many Elizabethan theaters, and based upon his research, he knew that the new performance space must have three essential elements. First, it must have a thrust stage. This meant that the performance space would be surrounded on three sides by seats. Second, it must have a gallery or multi-level seating. And third, it must be open to the air. All of these designs were in every major Elizabethan theater of Shakespeare's day and would be necessary for the festival's new space. Cook and Adams understood that the space defines the play, that producing the works of Shakespeare in a space similar to that in which they would have originally been performed would assist in transporting the audience into another world. This new theater would become a character itself. Everything the Utah Shakespeare Festival had learned about producing the Bard would go into the design of this theater. Although the college agreed with the need for a space like the one Adams proposed, they could not meet the financial needs of the project. Adams, like he had done 10 years earlier, turned to private funding sources. He achieved success when three generous donors, Dr. Obert C. and Grace Adams Tanner, Sadie Barnard, and Dean B. Egertson, agreed to fund the bulk of the project. Additionally, the theater would now be dedicated to the parents of Mrs. Tanner, Thomas and Luella Adams, and be known as the Adams Memorial Shakespeare Theater, lovingly referred to now as the Adams Theater. In 1977, the Adams Theater was complete, and despite having to remove the construction scaffolding 45 minutes before the first performance, the actors loved the new theater. The audiences of the early 1970s missed seeing the trees that would blow in the wind behind the open portable stage, as well as the actors' processional. This was no longer necessary because they'd constructed tunnels that led directly from the auditorium dressing rooms to the Adams Theater. However, many patrons soon fell in love with this new space and validated its existence with sold-out performances. In 1981, the British Broadcasting Company, the BBC, searched the world for a proper space to produce a series of theater programs and found the Adams Theater to be a perfect spot. They added further acclaim by announcing, "There's not a theater in England, Asia, or Europe that is like this."